In these very self-obsessed times, it's often difficult to remember how important it is for us to not only connect with other people, but to really understand where they are coming from. Today we're going to talk all about compassion, how we can really increase it, and also how practicing it not only improves our own lives, but improves the lives of other people. Welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nena and I'm a life coach that specializes in personal development. Here at this channel, we talk about everything having to do with our emotional well-being, understanding our own psychology, and living our best life possible. So if you aren't already a subscriber, please take a moment and become one because we definitely want you to stay connected. Compassion is that feeling that arises when we notice someone else suffering and we want to do something about it. In fact, the literal definition of the word compassion is suffering together. It's more of an understanding of someone else's perspective, which I think is oftentimes missing from our world today. Compassion is something that we can't really fake, but we can learn to better cultivate it and to better practice it, which is exactly what we'll be talking about today. Firstly, lack of compassion often comes from judgment. So the first place we have to look is within ourselves, because we are just as likely to judge ourselves as we are to judge other people. So if we notice that we are judgmental and critical of our own selves, it is very likely that we are judgmental and critical of other people, which certainly makes it very difficult for us to be compassionate. When thinking about other people, it is essential that we remember that every single person that we meet is doing the best they can with the knowledge that they have. So a lot of times we just can't relate to other people because we don't understand why someone would be acting the way they're acting or making the decisions that they are. And that is because we are seeing things from, again, a completely different perspective. We have our own life experiences which shape how we view the world, and they have their own life experiences. So they are, again, operating from a place of their own personal understanding. We also have to realize that every person is programmed in some way. We are programmed by society, but we're also programmed by whoever raised us. So a lot of times people are acting in a way that they were actually taught to act in. So we really need to remember that just because someone is acting a different way, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's different. We also need to make sure that we are showing and sharing our genuine concern for people. So when we notice that there is a situation deserving of compassion, we need to make sure we are expressing that to the other person, even if it seems kind of fake or pretentious at first. Oftentimes, just the knowledge that someone else is noticing the situation or caring about the situation is actually all that is needed. Nobody likes to feel alone. So showing someone that you see what they are going through and that you have a genuine feeling about that is going to be so helpful to that other person. Another thing that can be really helpful is to go ahead and put yourself in that person's shoes. So we already talked about how we have a different perspective than other people, but if we could better understand why they are thinking and behaving in the way that they are, then we can be more sympathetic towards that. And sometimes we have to actually ask questions, so we have to make sure we're not being intrusive. So ask them if that is okay, if they want to share more about the situation. But you want to try to understand it from their perspective, because if we're always looking at it from our own perspective, we're never really going to understand, because we're going to see things in a completely different way. In these situations, we also want to make sure that we are listening openly and fully. So a lot of times in conversations, our habit is when we are listening and we are designing how we are going to respond when we are listening, which is probably not what they need right now. So we want to just patiently and graciously listen. Give them the opportunity to fully express themselves and how they are feeling. When we get into the practice of listening in that really generous way, we're going to really have a lot easier of a time appreciating the situation and understanding the situation, because we are really picking up on all those little details and the little signals that they are sending us. And we want to make sure when we respond, we are really responding from our heart, which usually means we don't need to fix the situation. Now, we can ask them ahead of time, do you want someone to listen, or are you asking for advice? And again, knowing ahead of time if they want a sympathetic ear or if they are looking for you to actually help them with this situation is good knowledge to have, because you kind of know how to respond. But if you don't have that information, just saying something as simple as, I am so sorry that this is happening to you, or asking them, what can I do? But the last thing we want to do is to be intrusive. We don't want to offer our point of view if it is not something that they're really open to. We just want to be compassionate and understand their personal situation. So these are all techniques that we can use to help us move past indifference or judgments of other people into a space of true understanding and care for others. So as human beings, it is so important that we realize that we're all connected and that we do have a responsibility to take care of one another. And practicing compassion is a great place to start. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and if it was, please like it and share it with someone else who may need to hear this message today. Also, if you aren't already a subscriber, please take a moment to subscribe, and I thank you so much for spending time with me today. Have an absolutely amazing day.